All right, folks, this is Harris Sultan, a very happy Harris Sultan, because our favorite fearless critic of Islam, Douglas Murray, has destroyed the 7-foot overgrown gorilla. Yes, you guessed it right, Mohamed Hijab. Now, this is all the more fun given that Mohamed Hijab had been making tall claims that he's going to destroy Douglas Murray. Douglas Murray is going to regret the day he was born. He's going to make him suffer. I'm paraphrasing, but you know how he talks. I wonder where he gets all this arrogance from, because, you know, if the West didn't have all these wonderful non-racist values, people like him will be cleaning your toilets, because this is what happens with people who think they're too smart for their own boots. He thinks that he's clever, but he's not clever. So what happened? Let's take a trip down memory lane. So back in 2022, the usual suspects tried to intimidate some local Hindus in Leicester. So the Hindus came out and they started chanting the Hindu slogans. And then the Muslims got upset because they're like, hang on a second, it's only us who are allowed to be chanting our religious slogans. How dare you Hindus? You can't do that. So anyway, some Muslims came out, they beat up some Hindus, and then Hindus came out, and then those clashes erupted and they turned into riots. And then Mohamed Hijab, the attention-seeking whore that he is, smelt an opportunity to go in and instigate more riots, basically add fuel to the fire. So Mohamed Hijab, along with his girlfriend Ali Dawa, him. Actually, I don't know which one is the girlfriend out of the two. I've heard some rumors, so I don't know for sure. I don't know, maybe they both take turns. Hey, who am I to judge? It's all fine. But anyway, so Mohamed Hijab turned up and he gave a highly volatile, provocative speech on Hindus, and in his typical style. Actually, you know what? Let's watch the video together. So look at him. This is him. Turns up. This is so cringe.
For the cowards. That's my question.
It's funny that they're calling them cowards while these are the guys who've got their faces covered. Says a lot about your bravery.
Because when I was online on Twitter and on social media, I'm seeing them getting brave. Seeing these people here getting brave.
Brave.
How come today it was like pin drop silence? How come today I didn't see them? How come today, when it's not one person or two people walking the street, yeah? When it's one or two Muslims walking the street, when it's a vulnerable adult, when it's someone running home, yeah? How comes now, yeah? How comes you're not here now?
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Bro.
The fear is when they're near us.
Because you know what? Come on, brother. Let me tell you why it is, yeah? Because deep down, yeah?
Who is it? Who does it think
they
he is?
know we got the truth.
That's it.
Yeah, they know. They genuinely believe that you have got the truth. Your one true God is the one real God, and what they believe in is a fake God. Why would anyone do that? If I know that your God is the real God, then why would I mess with him and risk eternal torture for myself? Why? Nobody would do that, you idiot. People who don't believe in other people's gods, they genuinely don't believe in it. Otherwise, they'll be afraid of the torment of the afterlife. Anyway, listen to this.
Deep down, and let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. All due respect, actually no due respect, yeah? If they believe in reincarnation, what a humiliation and pathetic thing for them to be reincarnated into some pathetic, weak, cowardly people like that. I'd rather be an animal. I'd rather be reincarnated as a grasshopper, bro. That's the truth. So how comes now in Leicester, the Hindutva are coming out, yeah? And you're trying to act like gangsters? You're trying to act like gangsters.
He's provoking them for a fight, but this was the critical part, yeah? So Douglas Murray reported on this incident and he called him an instigator. And by the way, Mohamed Hijab called himself an instigator. Let me show you this photo that he put up as a banner for his Twitter profile. He put that right after this because the Indian media picked up this news story and they all identified him as the instigator. Look at this. He put up this banner, instigator in chief, right after the Leicester riots. Credit where credit's due. Mohamed Hijab was such a poor instigator that even Muslims in Leicester said, you know what? We don't need your BS. Get out of here. We know why you're here. You're here to hog attention. Let me play this video to you.
Problem amongst ourselves, man. He's going to cause a problem in ourselves.
He's going to cause a problem. Get him out of here.
The man should apply to all people, Muslims and Hindus. This is
Take the mic off him, man. Take the mic off him, man.
Just put the mic down. Just put the mic down.
Stop. Let me talk. He's like, yeah, it's my opportunity. He thought that he's going to be welcomed with open arms. Nope.
No, man. Put the mic down, man.
You're going to incite them. You're only going to make things worse. Now, put the mic down. Put the mic down. Listen to what I'm saying, bro.
Go.
Put the mic down.
Oh, that's so
Put the mic
embarrassing.
down. You've said your piece. You've said your piece. Leave it. Leave it. Yeah. Leave it. Leave it.
You can see his ego is being crushed. He's like, huh? What? I thought I'm a celebrity. I can say whatever I want. And you guys are just going to wag your tails. No. Oh.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Bro, put the mic down. You've said your piece. You've said your piece. Leave it. Leave it. Yeah. Leave it. No. He's finished enough times. Leave
Finished. You're finished, boy.
it. No, boss, you've had your time. Leave it.
Get out.
I'll finish it. Show some restraint. You trust the rock. Show some
See, he's not even letting go of the megaphone. It's so clear. Everyone is saying, get out.
restraint. Show some restraint.
I really commend these Muslims, though. They're good Muslims. I really commend them. Get out. So Douglas Murray reported on this back in 2022, right here. Leicester and the downside with diversity. Sadly, the most common response is simply to shrug and hope for the best, which is true. So Douglas Murray was watching this very carefully and wrote an article back in September 2022, and he said about Mohamed Hijab, and I quote, Hijab cropped up in Leicester to whip up his followers, among other things. He told them that Hindus are ridiculous people, not least because of their belief in reincarnation. He told them that Hindus must live in fear because they have been reincarnated, as you heard, as such pathetic, weak, cowardly people. I'd rather be an animal. As you heard, he said, I'd rather be a Greek grasshopper, I believe. So Mohamed Hijab took an issue with this, and he said, no, I was only referring to the Hindutva people. Hindutva being the Hindu nationalist movement. It's the same old trick that they apply on Jews. They say, hey, we don't hate the Jews. We hate the Zionists. Same thing. The same playbook. We don't hate Hindus. Yeah, right. The Quran hates polytheists. The Quran says that only Jews and Christians can be accepted as second and third class citizens, as dhimmis. But polytheists, i.e. the Hindus, they need to be killed. That's what the Quran says. Besides, they say that openly, that we don't like non-Muslims. What am I saying? I'm going to play this video to you. See how much they lie? Whenever they are caught, they lie.
Unbelievable.
I hate non-Muslims.
Yeah. We hate him for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The reason being is because he's upon kufr. And because we hate for Allah, there's boundaries with that hate. Imagine.
There are literally hundreds of these videos. Anyway, so Mohamed Hijab said that, ooh, how do I deal with this Douglas Murray guy? As I said, he's actually dumb because he thinks he's very clever and he's dodgy. Look, I come from a very dodgy country as well, Pakistan. I know how their mind works. So the first thing every immigrant that comes from dodgy countries notices is, wow, these people are so simple and straightforward because most people in the West follow the law. They follow rules and regulations. That's true. Every third worlder will tell you that. It's so easy to fool the Westerners. So Mohamed Hijab gathered up some of his Muslim boys and he said, I got to do something about this. How do we teach him a lesson? How do we make his life miserable? Let me think. What do I do? I am Mohamed Hijab after all. I am a celebrity. You know, I have a reputation. I worked really hard to build up my reputation. So how about we file a defamation lawsuit? Loss of income. What income? You're a YouTuber. You put up videos and that's it. We know Muslims stick together, yeah? I remember this tweet from some silly white person who thought that, oh, maybe we can report Dilly Hussain, Dildo Boy, you know, Dilly Hussain from 5 Pillars. He thought that Dilly Hussain made some really inappropriate comments. So he thought, I'm going to complain to your boss. And the Dildo Boy wrote, go ahead. Here's my boss, 5 Pillars, blah, blah, blah. And of course, 5 Pillars is a Muslim propaganda website. As if they're going to sack Dildo Boy. So these Muslims, they actually congratulate each other. But luckily, we are so lucky that this time, the judge who heard this case was not a woke activist. So the case went to court. And let me read you some juicy bits. So this is the claim that Mohamed Hijab made. The earnings Hijab claimed to have lost included a $3,500 a month deal to be brand ambassador for the charity One Ummah. As if the One Ummah people were going to pay him anything. But even if they were going to pay him anything, they were going to cancel their sponsorship deal after an article by a known Islamophobe, Douglas Murray. See what I mean? He really thought that the judge is going to buy that. Okay, it doesn't end here. A $1,500 a month advertising contract. As if you pisses sign contracts. A $1,500 a month advertising contract with supplements company Nature's Blends. I was like, ooh, Nature's Blends. That sounds like a legit company. So let's have a look. Oh my goodness. Let me show you something. Let's ask our friend ChatGPT. God bless ChatGPT. Who is the owner of Nature Blends UK? Let's see. Oops. Searching. It appears that Nature Blends UK, formerly registered as Nature Blends Limited, company number blah blah blah, is owned and controlled by Mr. Yusuf Mohammed Wasway. So Abduls and Mohammeds are cancelling Mohamed Hijab's big thousands of pounds worth of monthly deals after reading an article by a known Islamophobe Douglas Murray. Yes. They thought that the judge is going to buy that. Okay, it doesn't end here. It gets better. Let me read you another one. Okay, and £30,000 for a Ramadan fundraising campaign with the charity Salam. Salam, I don't have to look that up. Again, Ramadan charity Salam. Yeah. Hang on, you're a charity. What do you mean 30,000? Oh, look at this. There was a quid pro quo. So this is what Mohamed Hijab was hoping for, yeah? £3,500 a month deal cancelled. 3,500 times 12 is what? £48,000. £1,500 a month advertising contract with this Mohammed Yusuf's Nature's Blend. Times 12, what is that? 12,000? That's £60,000. Okay, so he was hoping to get £60,000 for himself, and I'm sure they must have made a deal that, hey, if we win this, I'll give you 50-50, you know? We'll go halvies. And then Ramadan, a charity that is supposed to be doing good things for people. Look how dodgy they are. I'm telling you, it's a part of the belief system. It's perfectly fine to loot and rob infidel institutions. Perfectly fine, even for their own charity. Charity is supposed to be God's work, but God's happy. Allah is happy if you're defrauding the infidels. So £30,000 for this fundraising charity. Hey, fundraising charity lost £30,000 too. So hey, Douglas, pay that too. You see what I mean? But anyway, but messages that he relied on for these claims have, I love this line, have the appearance of being contrived for the purpose of these proceedings, the judge said. He saw straight through the bullshit claim. They addressed Hijab formally, despite coming from people who knew him well. Hey, you know him, bro Hijab. You guys are like, hey, laughing like idiots. What do you mean? Why are you addressing him so formally? I don't know if it's the strongest point, but anyway, I'm glad they pulled him up on that. They blamed the article and they provided material that would be necessary to support a claim for financial loss when one might not generally expect such detail. See what I meant? They were too smart for their own boots. This is what happens. People who are over smart, they're actually dumb idiots. And that's who they are. Look at this. They also arrived at roughly the same time, which was several weeks after the article, but very shortly before a letter of claim was sent. So after the article, they sat down. They're like, what do we do? Okay, let's make up some bullshit sponsorship contracts. And once they made it up, straight away they lodged a defamation lawsuit. There was one more comment by the judge, which was really funny. The judge said, the judge rejected Hijab's claim because the videos he publishes on his channel are at least as reputationally damaging to him as the article, if not more, I would say. Mohamed Hijab, the kind of stuff that he says, that's 10 times worse, Momo. You make a fool of yourself on a daily basis. You idiots think that whatever you say is some really clever, smart shit. It isn't. Not only you're ugly, but the words that come out of your mouth are even uglier, which makes you look even uglier. So now you believe me? That this guy who might appear as smart because, you know, they pick up certain words and then they throw them in a sentence and you think, oh, okay, this guy's clever. But no matter how smart you are, but when you are a conniving, deceitful fraudster, you will always get caught. This is why they say honesty is the best policy. No matter how smart you think you are, no matter how smart I think I am, but if I'm lying, I'm defrauding someone, I am going to slip up at some place. I'll tell you what, There was this guy, I can't remember his name. There was this guy in England. He was attacking me a lot a few years ago. And I thought about, you know what? I've heard these libel laws in England are pretty strong. So I looked it up and I was like, oh, how am I going to prove that I've lost income? I could have also thought of this, but my mind doesn't work like that. I mean, I can see through it when somebody does do dodgy shit like that, but I don't do it because I really care about my reputation. I really do. This is why I've always said that I will never lie in public, because once you lie in public, it is always going to stay there. And no matter how smart you are, it is always going to come back and it can embarrass you. So that's how I think. I can also cook up this dodgy shit. Not tooting my own horn, but I ain't no Mohamed Hijab. But I'm telling you, these people who come from these dodgy countries, they take you for a fool because you guys are law-abiding people. You follow the rules. These fuckers don't. I think I've told this story before. When I first came to Australia back in 2003, I went to this mosque. It was an Afghan mosque in Dandenong. I think probably 2004, 2005. I heard an imam say that it's okay to defraud Centrelink. Centrelink is our welfare department where you go and fill in these details about your circumstances and then you get welfare payments. We call dole. Centrelink. Australian taxpayers are being screwed over by all these third world immigrants. They come in, they don't work, and even when they do work, they do these cash in hand jobs, and then they don't report them. And they have 5, 6, 7 kids. So they are replacing you using your own money. And they see nothing wrong with that. And you know, the justification that Imam gave was like, hey, look, these guys colonized us. They looted us for centuries. So now it's our turn. They have an answer for everything. They have a justification for everything. This is why stop being so nice. Wake up. As I said, this arrogance, this bravado that you see from people like Mohamed Hijab and all these Muslim thugs. Obviously, not all Muslims are like that, but these Muslims, let me show you. These ones, the ones that you're looking at. These kind of Muslims who roam the streets of the UK, and they are soon going to do that in Australia as well. They intimidate, threaten people, sexually assault women. They have no fear because your values of tolerance towards intolerance get in the way. You need to stand up. And look, these values are not going to protect them when the silent majority wakes up and they lose it. The vast majority of the UK public didn't even vote. I read somewhere that only 14 or 15% of the UK population elected the current Labour government. Only 14 to 15%. We can't apply the same rule here in Australia because in Australia we have compulsory voting. So everyone votes. I think our voter turnout is something like 94%. So our Labour government did win, unfortunately, by a lot. The only good thing about Australia is that we have elections every 3 years. So hopefully. So anyway, so in Britain at least, the vast majority of people, they're not politicized. They don't care. But I think they are starting to care now. They are starting to see how their neighborhoods are turning into Islamist cesspool. Again, as I said, I'm an optimistic person. I believe that people will wake up. Britain is not going to fall that easily. But for that, you have to keep fighting. I'm not saying fight in the streets. We're not there yet. Hopefully, we'll never get there. But you need to speak up. You need to challenge your governments. You need to forget about these labels of racism and bigotry. Fuck them. Nobody cares about them anymore. Islamophobia, well, thank you. Wear it as a badge of honor. Because all these phony labels were created to shut down decent people. You know, 15 years ago, if these labels hadn't been invented 15 years ago, most decent people would have said, yeah, look, the rule of law applies on everyone. Yeah, if Pakistani young men are grooming and raping young British girls, they should be punished. But they knew you would say that. So what they said, no, don't you dare you say that because you're a racist and an Islamophobe. So people went on a back foot. They're like, oh, well, I better shut up. I better not say anything. And obviously back in those days, back in 2010s, people used to get cancelled all the time. People's identities were no longer hidden. Even if you're a normal office worker and you said something online, people would send an email to your employer and you'll get fired. That shit was happening back then. But I think the public has found a way to maintain their anonymity. And that's why they're coming after you with all these e-safety laws, because they want to know what you say. If you raise your voice against some phenomena, then they can come after you. That's the reason. Anyway, still a good news. And Douglas, well done. Oh, by the way, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like me to continue making awesome videos like this, look, I'll keep making these videos like that anyway. But anyway, you can still support the channel. You can support it by becoming a member or a patron by going to patreon.com/Harris Sultan, or simply buy me a coffee on buymeacoffee.com/Harris Sultan. Until next time, ta-da.